Two persons, same town, same age, both 26, and both making $62,000 a year at the same company. They're 3 desks down. At lunch, they eat in the same break room. They bitch about the same parking lot and the same vending machine that's been broken since February. By the time he's 60, one will have $547,000 sitting in a brokerage account he hardly thinks about. The other guy will have $11,000 in savings and a balance on his Discover card he's been carrying for 9 years. Same money, same town, same cost of living. Over $500,000 between us. And it wasn't a stock tip that split them up. It wasn't a side hustle. It wasn't crypto, or an inheritance, or some genius play their uncle taught them. One single decision, made once on a random Tuesday in October, that took about 14 minutes. That's all. 14 minutes. $500,000. Scott's the name. Today we are going to tear apart the single most expensive lie the financial industry has ever told you, and that is that you need high income, expert knowledge, or perfect timing to build real wealth. It doesn't. The math here is going to make a lot of people very uncomfortable, because the reason most people will never get to $500,000 has almost nothing to do with how much money they make. It's all about what they do with the first $500 they don't spend. Here's the uncomfortable truth. According to the Federal Reserve's Survey of Consumer Finances, the median retirement savings of an American aged between 55 and 64 years old is about $210,000. That's the people nearest to retirement. $210,000. Fidelity, meanwhile, says that at the end of 2024, it had more than 595,000 401k millionaires on its platform. Those millionaires contributed an average of 14.1% of their salary. They had been in office, on average, for 26 years. No fancy stuff, no day trade, no angel investing, no six-figure income required. Just steady, automatic, boring, long-term investment in broad index funds. It's not talent that separates the millionaires from the median. It's no accident. It is conduct, and the way they act is shockingly similar. Let's actually crunch the numbers. This is where most people's assumptions completely break down. If you put $300 a month into an S&P 500 index fund, and you start at 25, and you make the market's historical average of about 10% a year, here's what happens. At 35, after 10 years, you have about $62,000. Nothing earth-shattering. That's not even cool. 10 years of discipline, your brain looks at $62,000 and says, what's the point? At 45, after 20 years, you have about $227,000. Now it is getting interesting, but you still feel behind, as every financial headline is telling you that you need $2 million to retire. 30 years later, at age 55, you have $678,000. At 60, after 35 years, you're at over $1.1 million. $300 per month. That's $10 a day. That's 2 coffees. That's 1 streaming service you forgot to cancel, and a gym membership you haven't used since March. But here's the thing that should make you stop in your tracks. It took almost 12 years to make the first $100,000. It took about 4 years to get from $100,000 to $200,000. It took around 6 years to go from $500,000 to $1 million. Money moves quicker. The first leg is a brutal, dull slog where nothing appears to happen. The last piece is freight train. Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's partner, put it simply. The first $100,000 is the bitch. He was correct. And why most folks don't make it to $500,000 is not because the math is impossible. It's that they give up when it gets boring, because no one told them that the boring part is the part that matters the most. Well, now let me show you what that actually looks like when the boring part is interrupted. Because abstract math is easy to agree with. To live it, that's something else entirely. Allow me to introduce David. David is 26 years old. He is a logistics coordinator in Charlotte, North Carolina, and makes $62,000 a year. He puts money into a 401k and pays health insurance, and his take-home is about $3,800 a month. Since he turned 23, he's been putting $300 a month into an S&P 500 index fund via his Roth IRA at Fidelity. He's got around 14 grand in the bank. Maybe he checks it quarterly. He set it up, linked his bank, switched the auto-invest switch, and pretty much ignored it. David owns a 2019 Honda Civic with 112,000 miles on it. And it's worked. It's boring. It's got a ding in the back bumper from the grocery store lot. He doesn't care. And this is what happens now. It's a Monday morning, and David's coworker Tyler pulls into the parking lot in a brand new 2025 GMC Sierra AT4. Midnight blue. 22-inch rims. The thing looks like it was designed by someone who hates fuel economy on a personal level. Tyler's 27, but it's still $62,000. Tyler financed the truck at 7.9% interest over 84 months. $814 a month he pays. And Tyler's pissed. He posts it to Instagram. He got 143 likes. His dad sends him a thumbs up emoji. Tyler feels like the man for a whole week. David says nothing. He drives home in his Civic, eats leftover pasta, and watches the Hornets lose by 12. Here is where the cascade begins. Month first. Tyler's take-home is also in the region of $3,800. His rent is $1,300. Pay for the truck, $814. Insurance on the new truck went up from $160 to $310 a month. Gas went from about $180 to $320 because the Sierra gets 14 miles per gallon and Tyler has a 40-minute commute. Now he spends $2,744 a month before he buys a single piece of food, pays his phone bill, or puts gas in the truck to get to work. He has $1,056 left for everything else. He had $1,800. Third month. Tyler's check engine light goes on. Not on the truck, on his life. He's been filling the gap with plastic, and his credit card balance is at $3,400 when it was about $2,000. He stopped paying into his 401k because the 3% match felt like a luxury he couldn't afford. He doesn't see it as lost free money. He thinks of it as survival. 5 months. Sierra needs tires. Tyler needs tires. 4 stock tires on a GM CAT4 are $275 a piece. That's $1,100 for 4 tires. He lays it on the card. His credit card balance is now $5,100. The smallest payment is $153. He's paying the minimum because that's all he can afford. That's $7,700 in total monthly obligations and a take-home of $3,800. Tyler is now technically insolvent every single month. He just hasn't admitted it yet. Month 7. Tyler gets his yearly car insurance renewal. He's under 30 years old, male, and drives a full-size pickup truck with a financed balance of $48,000. His premium is up to $3,720 a year. That's $310 per month. He was already budgeting $310s. But the renewal had a note that it was going to $358 next cycle because he had a minor fender bender in a Chick-fil-A drive-thru. 9th month. On a Sunday night, Tyler sits at his kitchen table and opens his banking app. He has $412 in his checking account. He owes $6,800 on his credit card. He has not contributed to his 401k for 6 months and has lost about $930 in employer match. That's $930 of free money that disappeared. He has nothing in his Roth IRA, which he never opened. He has $4,000 in debt, not counting the truck. Including the truck, which he's already lost something like $8,000 on since he drove it off the lot. He's negative $12,000. He shuts the app. He doesn't tell anyone anything. Now let's check in on David. Say month 9, David's Roth IRA just hit $15,800. 401k with the employer match is about $9,000. He pays off his credit card every month, so his balance is $0 every month. His 2019 Civic just had its state inspection for $40. He doesn't have a car payment because the car is paid off. His total transportation costs, including insurance, gas, and maintenance, are about $380 a month. Tyler's is $1,492. Transportation alone puts David and Tyler $1,112 apart each month. Each and every month. That is $914,000 if invested at 10% a year for 30 years. Let me put it another way. Tyler isn't spending $814 a month on a truck. Tyler is buying a truck for $914,000. That's the real cost. That's the cost nobody at the dealership told him about. Because the dealership makes money when Tyler signs the paperwork. When Tyler drives his paid-off Civic home and invests the difference, they make $0. There was nobody in that transaction who had a financial incentive aligned with Tyler's long-term outcome. When the deal closed, they all went home. Tyler went home for his money. And here's the part that really hurts. Tyler's no dummy. Tyler's not a bad kid. Tyler did what every car commercial, every Instagram ad, every coworker, every cultural signal told him to do. He upgraded his lifestyle, even though he could technically only afford the monthly payment. There's no expectation in the system that Tyler will build wealth. So the system is set up to make Tyler's income someone else's revenue for as long as possible. Every default in the transaction, the loan's 84-month term, the 7.9% interest rate, the dealer's emphasis on monthly payment over total cost, the insurance structure that penalizes young drivers of expensive cars. It's all designed to extract the most money possible from Tyler over the longest possible time. That's not a conspiracy. That's a business model. And it works like a charm. This is not a personal failure. That's the system working just the way it was supposed to. Tyler didn't build it. Tyler didn't ask for this. Tyler just walked right into it because nobody thought to give him the map. Now let me answer the 3 things you're really thinking right now. Not the good ones. The real. Objection 1. The market may crash. Sure. So let's discuss that. The S&P 500 has returned roughly 10% a year since 1926. That includes the Great Depression, when the market fell 86%. It has witnessed 2 world wars. It's got the dot-com crash, the financial crisis of 2008, and COVID, which took out 34% of the market in 23 trading days. Never before in recorded history has the S&P 500 had a negative return over any rolling 20-year span, not even one. The worst 30-year annualized return was 4.3%. And during World War II, when the world was literally on fire, the Dow went up 50%. It gained 60% in the Korean War. During Vietnam, the S&P was up 27%. The market has lived through the real apocalypse many times. It didn't need your help. Certainly, it did not require you to panic sell at the bottom and lock in your losses. Objection 2. I can't afford to spend $300 a month on it. Bankrate says the average American pays $273 a month for subscriptions. That's streaming services, apps, gym memberships, premium Spotify, cloud storage upgrades, and that meal kit you ordered twice and forgot to cancel. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average American household spends approximately $280 a month on eating out. That's $553 a month on stuff that won't be around 40 years from now. You have the money. You spend it. You're just buying things that disappear rather than things that build. I'm not saying don't go out to eat. I'm not suggesting cancel all. I'm saying find 300 of that 553 and reroute it. Not even after 60 days will you feel it. The third objection. I want to know what I'm doing before I invest. You don't. And Fidelity did a study on which of their accounts did the best. The answer was accounts that belonged to dead people, and accounts that belonged to people who had forgotten the account existed. The less you tinker with it, the better it works. According to the Dalbar quantitative analysis of investor behavior, the average investor in equity funds underperforms the S&P 500 index by around 8.5 percentage points annually. Not because the fund did poorly, but because the human being holding the fund panicked, sold low, waited, bought high, and did that every time CNN said the word recession. You don't need to know. You need automation and the discipline to let it be. Here's the number that should blow your mind. JP Morgan did the math on a hypothetical $10,000 investment in the S&P 500 between 2005 and 2024. You had $71,000 if you stayed in the market the entire time. Over a period of about 5,000, if you missed the 10 best trading days, you had 32,000. Missed 30 days and you were just about even. You were off the market for 30 days. 20 years of investing, 0 gain. And 7 of the best 10 days happened within 2 weeks of the worst 10 days. The worst days are next-door neighbors to the best days. You can't get one without sitting through the other. If you sold during the crash, you missed the recovery. The rich were those who did nothing. Ronald Reed was a Vermonter who worked as a janitor. Ronald had been a gas station attendant and then a janitor at JCPenney. He never made more than $20,000 a year. He used to wear a jacket with safety pins. He drove a rusty Toyota Yaris year 2007. His colleagues laughed at him for being tight. When Ronald Reed died in 2014, at age 92, his estate was worth $8 million. $8 million. For 70 years, he had quietly bought dividend-paying stocks every week and never sold. The same coworkers who laughed at his car had been working with a multimillionaire for decades and didn't even know it. Because real money is whispering, fake money shouts. Sylvia Bloom worked as a legal secretary in Manhattan for 67 years. When the lawyer she worked for bought stocks, she quietly bought small amounts of the same stocks on a secretary's salary. Every day she rode the subway. She never showed off. She died leaving an estate worth over $9 million, of which she gave away to charity $24,620,000. In 1935, Grace Groner bought 3 shares of Abbott Laboratories stock for $180. She reinvested all dividends. She never sold it. She died in 2010 at the age of 100, and those 3 shares were worth $7.5 million. Shares 3. $180. 75 years of doing nothing at all. They were not men of great incomes. None of them had MBAs. They had no financial advisors. They had the time, they had the steadiness, they had the discipline to leave it alone. That is all the math that is needed. So why do people keep making Tyler's mistake and not David's? It's not your fault. Your brain is working against you. Behavioral economists refer to this as present bias. Your brain is hardwired to prefer $500 today over $50,000 in 40 years, even when the math is totally obvious. This is a trait that saved your ancestors 200,000 years ago. Eat the berries now, because there may not be berries tomorrow. Good strategy for survival. Terrible retirement plan. Then there's exponential growth bias. About 1 in 3 people think compound growth is linear growth. They look at an investment that grows 10% a year and they see the dots connecting. They look at the first 5 years of boring marginal gains and decide the entire thing is pointless. The human brain was never built to intuit exponential curves, so they can't see the hockey stick at the end. It's like trying to figure out how big the universe is. It's huge, you know. You have no idea how large. And then comes the most dangerous, lifestyle creep. 78% say they'll deposit more in the bank after their next raise. Almost none of them do, unless the increase is automated before they ever see the money. The second your brain gets a whiff of additional income, it goes and buys itself a slightly nicer version of something you already have. A slightly nicer apartment, a newer little car, a little more expensive restaurant. Every upgrade is small. Well-deserved upgrade each time. And every upgrade, compounded over 30 years, is a staggering amount of money you'll never see. Here's what you're supposed to do. And I am going to give you the steps in order, because complexity kills follow-through. And I would rather you do 3 things today than plan 12 things you are never going to start. First step. Open a Fidelity, Vanguard, or Schwab Roth IRA. They are all free. They all have no minimums to open. It will take about 20 minutes. A Roth IRA is where you put in after-tax money, and it grows forever tax-free. The gains are never taxed. That saves you somewhere between $75,000 and $150,000 in taxes over your lifetime, versus a regular taxable account on a portfolio that grows to $500,000 or more. Step 2. Link your checking account and set up an auto monthly transfer. Start with what you've got. $100, $200, $300. It's not about the number, it's about the automation. If your employer offers a 401k match, take the full match first. That is money for free. If your employer matches 50% of your first 6% of salary and you're making $62,000, that's an extra $1,860 per year your employer is giving you for free. Get that out of the way. Step 3. Purchase one S&P 500 index fund. And at Fidelity, that's FXAIX, and it's got an expense ratio of 0.015%. At Vanguard, it is VOO at 0.03%. At Schwab, it's SWPPX at 0.02%. Choose one. It doesn't matter which one. They all follow the same 500 companies. They all give nearly the same return. The differences are only rounding error. Step 4. Set up automatic investing so the money moves and invests on its own every month without you doing a thing. Step 5. Forget the account is there. You want to check it once a year. Twice if you're interested. But don't check it every day. News agencies report the crash happened at around 10:30 p.m. When your coworker tells you he heard the market is about to crash, don't confirm it. The less you mess with it, the better it will work. This is not a hunch. This is 30 years of behavioral data shouting the same message over and over. And that's it. That's the whole play. It's dull. It's not sexy. It will never get 143 likes on Instagram. And it will generate more wealth than 90% of the complex financial plans that sound good at dinner parties. Here's what you want to know. 10% $300 a month for 35 years will take you to $1.1 million. Begin a year from now, and you need $330. 5 years and you want $480. Wait 10 years, and you need $820 a month to hit the same number. Target's not waiting for you. It moves away. The longer you wait, the faster it moves. Compound interest is either the most powerful force in your financial life or the most destructive. It's entirely down to which side of it you're standing. There is a version of you that exists 35 years in the future. That person is sitting on a portfolio worth more than $1 million. They don't fret about retirement. They're not weighing if they can afford their medication. They're not doing a part-time job at 70 because they have to. They are free, and they did it by doing something so tedious that no one around them even noticed. And there's another story. That person is 61 in 35 years, with $11,000 in the bank and a growing fear of the next 30 years. They weren't lazy, and that's why they're not there. They're not there because they were dumb. They're there because every system, every commercial, every cultural signal, every default in the economy was set up to take their income before they could invest it. And nobody ever told them that the only move that counted was the boring one. You are both of these people. They're exactly the same, except for one decision, once on a Tuesday somewhere randomly. That takes about 14 minutes. David is nothing special. Tyler's no dummy. And neither are you, in the most wonderful way. Math is not rocket science. It takes 14 minutes, and a willingness to be boring. Be dull. If this rewired anything for you, like and subscribe. It is free. 2 seconds. And I don't make a dime when you're scared, unlike the dealership, the bank, or the algorithm. I just need you to do the math.